Coming to you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania and Atlanta, Georgia. This is United Fan Zone with Sean Gregg and Mikey Douglas.
Welcome to another episode of the United Fan Zone. My mic is working at the beginning of this episode, which is all good. Man United with a dominating performance, but still can't get that ball in the back of the net. What's your thoughts, Mikey?
The thoughts. Okay, so I don't know. Where do I start? So the thoughts for me, the important parts for me is that Ten Hag got it wrong with his subs. I feel like I'm very surprised with Eriksen. There was some concern for Eriksen in the beginning, but it seems like he's found a way to play in the team. He looks healthy. He looks sharp. He looks direct. He looks, he doesn't look like he can only play 60 minutes. So that's good. We had the ball for a lot. We had chances. We didn't take them. And that's just been the thing with Man United as of recently. We're just not taking our chances when we got them. We're putting up shots. We're just not making them. So that has to change. That's always going to have to change. Yeah. The part that I feel like when Ten Hag got it wrong is when he made his subs, of course. And putting on Rashford for Zirkzee was crazy, only because it took away the progressive passing of the game. I said a couple weeks ago, or maybe a week and a half ago, I said Zirkzee's thing that makes him effective in this team is his way to hold up the ball and link play. I felt like when I compared him to Martial at his best, right? Because when Martial was really clicking and getting involved in the team, he was doing both of those things. Held the ball up well and progressed it well. Gave his guys chances to get in behind and make a good pass, link up pass. Maybe he can get himself into position to score or get others into position to score. At that time of the game, Zirkzee's putting everything together. When you take him off, Crystal Palace wasn't leaving space in behind. Yeah. So there was no space. Rashford needs space in behind to run onto the ball. He's not a target man striker. So he needs that space. And when he got on, I was like, yes, all right, Rashford is going to be a little fresher. Cool. But my friend pointed out to me, both of my friends pointed out to me at the time, shout out to Jan, shout out to Shamoon. They pointed out to me at the time, they were like, yo, there's no space in it for him in between. So, like, where is he going to get the ball? Yeah. Where is he going to get it? So that was an issue for me. And I feel like Ten Hag didn't see that. And then Crystal Palace either ended up changing it or he just missed it. And we just didn't look for that last 30 minutes of the game. We just didn't look crisp. We lost the ball. We looked clueless. We looked rudderless. We looked like we just we kind of reverted back to United of old, just have the ball, have possession, but do nothing with it. And then when Crystal Palace would get possession, we were on our toes. We were trying to figure it out. I feel like we defended well. Onana made a great big save. So everybody with the Onana talk, since you've been talking, he saved the penalty and made a double save that kept us in the game. So just remember that, like, when it goes bad again, who's been keeping us from giving up goals, right? Or giving up games in the last couple games. But other than that, there was a lot of positives to take from the game, but we have to be clinical or we're going to lose. We're going to suffer for it. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I thought he got a number of the substitutions wrong. You could clearly see that Bruno was struggling. That's probably one of the worst performances I've seen Bruno play in a Manchester United jersey. I was screaming out for him to bring on Rashford, but also take off Bruno and drop Zirkzee back into that slot. We kind of see it, and when we've talked about it, other people talked about it. Everyone can see that Zirkzee's probably going to be a great addition for Marcus Rashford, kind of like that Martial sort of situation. So I think taking off Bruno in that situation and dropping Zirkzee back, allowing Rashford and Zirkzee to build a nice relationship, was the right thing to do. I'm not sure why he took off Zirkzee. I think we dropped off in play when Zirkzee went off up front. Like, Rashford barely saw the ball. Nothing to do with him. He just wasn't getting serviced up front. And then when Højlund came on, Højlund wasn't receiving those either. We reverted to what I call bottom of the league play, over the top ball when we were passing it so beautifully for that first 70 minutes. And then for some reason, our midfield and defense just thought, oh, we're just going to chip the ball in now for the last 15 minutes. And we kind of lost our identity, which kind of allowed Palace to open up and should have taken the lead. I do believe that one shot from inside the penalty box, I think Onana would have got it. If you watched it, I watched it again, and it looked like Onana would have got his hand to that one. But there was numerous chances where Palace could have took this game from Manchester United and would be sitting here talking about a completely different situation with Ten Hag. Is he on his way out? At the end of the day, what's that, the 5th game this season? And we have 7 points. We're still lingering in 11th place. And it's just... The thing with me, though, is, and I said this to everyone I saw at the bar last year, the bar at the weekend, where a lot of my friends were saying, oh, United, I don't see, any difference. I'm like, go back and watch the tapes from last year. We are progressing. This defense is something that I believe in. That's 3 games in a row. I know they're not top quality opposition, but it's still 3 games in a row and 3 clean sheets for Manchester United. So that's something to, and the shots are down. Ugarte didn't start, which I believe is a mistake. I understand rotation. I understand what he's doing now because he's starting to rotate, and this is probably coming from above him, or that you have to start rotating because last year he just wouldn't rotate. Even in the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup, he just wouldn't rotate. So I like the rotation. And I understand that, some people out there are like, well, I don't think that some people should have started this weekend. Rashford should have started. I get that. But when we've only had 1 in-season injury, which is Mason Mount, and now he's back, you understand why he is rotating. Because if he doesn't rotate and doesn't take Rashford out of that team and continue and put Garnacho in, I think Garnacho deserved the start, to be honest with you. He's been on fire. He's had top goal scorer, I believe, this season so far. So he deserved the start. Yes, I believe right now he's better off coming off the bench. But we can't keep a player of this quality on the bench and be an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because he will go to Real Madrid otherwise. He will go somewhere else if we continue to play him off the bench. I thought Ahmed had a really good game. I think he was ineffective in some areas, but I think he had a generally good game. I think the whole team had a really good game, other than that last 15 minutes, but we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, I don't think we had. I think in the last 30 minutes, it didn't look good for us. I think that Bruno Fernandes once again has gone back to this weird way of playing where he lost the ball 34 times. There was one passage of play where he lost it 3 times. We were able to get it back, and he just kept losing it. It's like he's waiting, he'll get it, and he'll just progress it forward real quick. And it's like, we don't need that right now, Bruno. We need possession. We need to be able to get guys forward and hold our shape and get guys forward in order to do something. Or he'll just lick a shot from outside the box just randomly. I saw a stat somewhere that was saying that Bruno has the most shots missed of all the top 5 leagues in Europe. He's taken the most shots and missed them from.
Yeah, he has the most shots and the most shots and 0 goals in all top 5 divisions.
And I'm not gonna that's not a symptom of. I don't think that's an indictment of him as a player, because I love Bruno, and I've been here with Bruno before. Yeah. I think we all have, right? And I also think that Bruno makes his team better. I know that's not a popular opinion at the moment, but I think Bruno makes his team better when he decides to keep the ball. Now, Bruno's a guy that's going to try things. Okay, so I can respect that you lose the ball when you try things, but when you just hoof the ball forward and don't look, I can't respect that. It's like, what is that? It's like, what did you think was going to happen there? We're just going to lose possession when you could make a calm pass and get yourself in a better position. Even if we lose it in that sense of what I'm saying here, pass it on and move, it's fine. But when you just hoof it, now we're on the back foot. It's like, what's going on there? I don't understand what his method is there. And I felt like when we're playing this Stoke City hoof the ball long and just pray it gets onto somebody, we make something happen. I'm not a fan of that as a team that spent $1 billion in the last how many off years. Like, I'm not a fan of that style of play. We have technical players at the team now.
Yeah.
It's not before you could say like, yo, the guys aren't technical enough. You know, you got to deal with like Lingard and guys like that. So you could say, all right, yeah, these guys aren't as technical. So if you play that way, it's whatever. You're still gonna be mad. But like, we have some guys now, and to take Zirkzee out when, you know what, you guys said it last week, and I was like, I don't know if he's a 10 or not, but he might could play in that role, or at least if we do a dual striker type of thing, he could be the one playing back a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Now it's kind of tricky to play two of them at the same time, being that we don't have the depth at the position, but I just still think it's a bad look for Bruno to be playing the way he is at this part of the season, because we really need him. And like, we're not in a winning position to where we can just have you having these kind of games. And it's starting to pile up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that I'm noticing with Bruno is, what is with this outside of the boot shooting or passing? Just stop. You're clear on goal. You try and shoot it without the outside of your boot, which, 1, you lose power. 2, you lose accuracy. All you had to do was slide that ball in with the middle of your foot, and that's 1-0. Like, I don't understand what this outside of the boot passing and shooting is all about with Bruno. Like, is he turning into Marcus Rashford right now, where he's lost confidence? Because Bruno doesn't miss that shot normally. That right there should have, in my eyes, should have been 2-3-0. But because it wasn't, it should have been a goal. And I don't understand why he's shooting with the outside of his boot. Like, as somebody that's played, it's not an accurate shot, and you lose a serious amount of power doing so. So yes, you can get a nice curve on it, but do you know what also you can do? Put it on the inside of your boot, put it low where the goalkeeper can't get it into the bottom corner. It should have been 1-0, and I'm wondering whether he's lost his confidence. Is he tired? You know, he didn't exactly go to the final in the Euros, so he's had plenty of time off. And there's no excuses now. You know, like, our back is playing significantly better than what it was last year. Like, when Palace were we lost 4-0 to Palace last year at Selhurst Park. Every time they attacked last year, I thought we were going to score. I thought they were going to score. This year, every single time they attacked, other than that one opportunity, the double save, I wasn't worried about them attacking at all in the entire game. Like, I knew that our backline got it. You know, 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀 is a phenomenal addition to Manchester United right now. And right now, the signing of the summer for Man United is 𝗕𝗁.
Yep.
I don't understand. Like, when Luke Shaw's back, I'm in that, like, for the first time ever, like, who do we pick? 𝙈𝙁𝙁 last season was, player of the season for me. And then you got 𝗕𝗁, who right now is player of the season. So who do you pick? And it's working so well with 𝙈𝙁𝙁 on the left and 𝗕𝗁 on the right. Do we even bring Luke Shaw back? Like, do we need Luke Shaw to come back right now? Because we haven't conceded in 3 games. So it's going to be a conundrum, and it's something that I'm excited for. It's depth that Man United have got. And it's exciting to have these conversations with kind of like Sanjeev and, yourself and, the groups that we're in. It's exciting to see, did he get them wrong? We have depth in every area that we have now with Rasmus Højlund back. I still think the big area that we are missing right now is a 27-year-old out-and-out striker. I feel like Man United in January, or if there's somebody out there right now that's not signed to a team, I think we should sign them. We need someone that's a proven goal scorer, whether they're little or... I know a lot of people out there are like, well, we signed Cavani, we sold 𝗕𝗓𝙁, but guess what these two did? They scored a lot of goals for Manchester United. And we're not scoring goals right now. We're on, 0 goal difference again, And for me, we need somebody to come in and start scoring goals for Man United and show Rasmus and show Zirkzee. Because I know in the back, people are working with him. working with both of them, and eventually it's going to become a good partnership where we can swap and both of them score. But right now, like you said, we don't have the time or luxury to be sitting back and going, oh, we're going to take a 0-0 draw at Palace. I was happy with the performance, but I wasn't happy with the result.
Yeah, another thing that I saw that was kind of worrying is like these guys are like kept deferring to each other. Like, oh, I'm gonna pass it. One more pass, one more pass, one more pass, one more pass. And it's like, dude, somebody lace up the ball and just strike it. Just strike it, hit it, take it with your laces and strike it. Put it low, nice and hard to the corner, either side of the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
That's not the. I mean, shouts to Dean Henderson. He had a point to prove. Okay, so I gotta give it to him. He had a point to prove, and you know, it's always the guys that come back to play us that hurt us the most. It's like they're like, oh, you want to get rid of me? All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna have my best game of the season against you. Now, granted, it's only 5 games into the season, so I can't say that was his best of the season, but that was a damn good performance from him. So shout out to Dean Anderson. Palace back line was to be. They were food.
Yeah,
they were to be had. They were there to be had. That's why when I wrote you guys, I was like, this feels like a loss. It felt like a loss because it was like we had all the momentum for the majority of the game, and we just kept deferring and trying to make the extra pass. Bruno at one point gets in the box and backheels it. Brother, I know you play with Ronaldo, but you're not Ronaldo. Stop that. What are you doing? That might work for Portugal, but Portugal has way more clinical talent than we do. Stop that. Keep it simple, dog. I'm very concerned with where Bruno is in this part of the season, and I feel like he is our best player. Like when he doesn't do well, we don't do well, and he's not doing well at the moment. But we move. It's a draw. We got a point out of it. It's fine. It's not reason to call for anybody's head. I'm seeing people arguing online about Bruno. They want to play Eriksen in the 10. They want to do all this other stuff. I'm not all the way on board with that yet, but you can't deny Eriksen has been looking very good. He has been, I mean, and props to him. He's gone through a lot. He's an older guy. He's gone through a lot in his career. So shout out to him. I don't want him to not get his flowers today. He did a great job. He's been doing a great job for us, and I hope he keeps it up. And hey, if it calls, listen, I'm not in love with Bruno so much that I don't want to see him dropped. Ten Hag has to know sometimes you got to drop guys. Sir Alex had to drop guys. You know, Sir Alex had to drop Wayne Rooney. Sir Alex had to drop a plethora of dudes to get the point across. It wasn't personal. It was all business. But in this game, we're afraid to drop people now because, like, we have, like, evaluations that need to be met. And guys have certain things in their contracts that they want to meet. And not playing on the pitch doesn't necessarily put them in the best position to be able to do those things. So, like, and then, you know, people have their favorites. They have their players that they're closer to. And I feel like Ten Hag's favorite is Bruno Fernandes. And it's rightfully so. He's gotten him out of plenty of jams, just like how Marcus Rashford got him out of plenty of jams in the past. But when they're not playing well, you have to be able to sit them aside and let them know it's not personal. This is your team. This is your club. You are the captain. Marcus Rashford, you are the talisman. And you are the face of this club. If I sit you for one game, it's not me saying F your career. It's me just saying, yo, we got to go look a different way now. And you'll find your way back onto the pitch. You've done enough. There's enough trust in the bank now for you to come back. But I just feel like these guys, he has these favorites with these guys, and I need for him to stop that.
Yeah, and this is also on the backroom staff too. They need to be standing up to him and saying, like, look, you can't do this. Like, you need to drop this player, like this player. Or not even so much drop, or like you need to substitute this player. That needs to be a discussion with the backroom staff too. Like, hey, we clearly see Bruno wasn't playing well. Why'd you make this change? Let him explain that situation. If he has a good enough reason, it's good enough reason. But being a favorite cannot be that. You know, and I ultimately believe that cost us the game. Not taking Bruno off cost us the game. Like, there was so many unlucky shots. There was so many unlucky, great saves from Dean Henderson. You know, there was, you know, so many people could have scored at the weekend. Unfortunately, we didn't. But going back to what I was saying earlier, what are you thinking with the progression? Like, how are you thinking? I think it's fantastic compared to last year. I know we have more of our players available. I know all of the people that we've signed have started off on the right foot. They're integrating into the Premier League extremely fast. I know Zirkzee, is struggling, but let's not forget Rasmus Højlund took 6 months to score a goal in the Premier League last season. So let's not all put all on Zirkzee. 3 games into his Man United career, he's actually scored more Premier League goals at this point than Rasmus Højlund did last year. So what are you thinking with the progression? Are you seeing it the same as me? Like, how are you seeing the progression?
I don't necessarily think that I feel like those guys are coming into their own. I feel like they're professionals, so it didn't matter where you put them. We picked right. Right. So I would say we picked right with the guys we have. Actually, his goals are going to come, but he's doing everything else well. Right.
Yes, he is.
For example, right. Arsenal, let's say I love to bring up Arsenal. Right. People always say, you always bring up Arsenal. Well, let me bring up Arsenal real quick. Martinelli hasn't scored since February. Gabriel Jesus hasn't scored since January. But nobody's calling for them to not start every game. You know why? Because they do everything else.
Yes.
They do everything else. I'm one of those guys. I'm a proponent of the idea that you don't necessarily, as a forward, as a striker, you don't necessarily have to score goals in order for you to be effective. Now, you want to score goals. I'm not saying don't score goals. Forward shouldn't score goals. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you don't necessarily have to do that. But if you do everything else, if you graft, if you pass well, if you get your guys involved, if you take the shot here and there that puts it closer, or you get close to the goal, you make the keeper work, you don't necessarily get a goal. Those things are important. 1, just for the momentum of the game, and 2, to get other guys involved is just what you're looking for as a player, right? As a coach, you want somebody that's going to be able to. I'm not like to shore it up a bit. When Bruno is not scoring and assisting, there's always been this conversation, and I'm watching a lot of these guys online. And one point that stuck out to me the most is like, what are we going to do when the goals and assists for Bruno dry up? Right? That was a point that was made to me. And I thought about it all day. It's like, yeah, you know what? There's times when Bruno could be really bad for 80 minutes and get a goal and an assist. And we will just look away from it and be like, oh, well, he had a goal and assist. Oh, it's another 300 games, 150 goals. And then we're just happy with GA. But it's like, when you're not scoring, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And I feel like, and look, he's a midfielder. He doesn't have to score. We're just blessed with a guy that scores from the midfield position. And granted, he plays wherever he wants. So like, cool. When you're not scoring, you got to be doing more. And I feel like Zirkzee's doing that. So it's okay. We picked right. But to answer your question, I'm still not happy with what I'm seeing. I still feel like we only have 30, maybe 45 minutes of football in us.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be at the front half or the back half of the game. This time it was at the back half, right? Where we dominated, we made changes, and then we didn't look so sharp anymore. As I said, against Southampton, we were getting dominated. We had a massive save come in, and then we realized ourselves. But Southampton's up to they have you watched them play? Yeah. They've been going to win the game and doing everything right and then not happening. So it's kind of apropos that they gave it to us the way they did, because that's how they've been trending. But we just seem to be trending on this idea that we only have 30 minutes of football in us. 40 minutes of good ball in us, and then if we get scored on, heads drop, and it's over.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Against Liverpool, it just looked over very early. Yeah. And it was like, damn, guys, what are we doing? So I'm a little concerned that we can't sustain. I want to see a good 90 minutes that I have yet to see, except outside of Barnsley. But I want to see a good 90 minutes of play from front to back, from defending, midfield, and attackers. A definitive win that didn't take us 30 minutes to get to.
Yeah. I agree with you. There's parts of the game where we're, really good or we're really bad. And we saw it at the weekend. Again, we saw it at Southampton. But overall, though, I just think, like, with the passing, the attacking, the knowing that the back line is shored up, knowing Anana's on fire right now, like, that double save was so good. Such a good double save. To be able to get off your butt that quickly and to get your hand up, which was a phenomenal
stop. He didn't get it the first time. He didn't get it.
We knew he was a good goalkeeper. Yeah. But a lot of people were just like, well, we look at last year. Statistically, he was the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. Statistically, he was. The amount of shots that he faced that had that amount of clean sheets, he was statistically the best goalkeeper in the league. We just unfortunately had such a bad line in front of us. And we also have to look that Lenny Yoro's coming back soon, and look how good our defense looks already. The midfield, Eriksen is starting to play pretty well. We've got 𝙈𝙊𝙍 in there, Casemiro. I believe Casemiro shouldn't be anywhere near the 6 anymore. I think he should be a replacement for 𝗦𝗈 playing in the 8. So he's going forward more, which I think Casemiro, if we look at Eriksen and 𝙈𝙍𝙍 right now, and think, wow, that looks pretty good. You wait till we start seeing Casemiro and 𝙈𝙍𝙍 play together. I think that's going to be a phenomenal partnership. And one of the other things that I've kind of picked up on is no one's talking about 𝗦𝗈 anymore. You know, they're not talking about how good he is or this, that, which is an amazing thing to hear, because it's pressure off that young boy's shoulder. He's still playing as good as he did last year, but we're not hearing it anymore because we're hearing how good 𝗕𝗓𝙍 is. We're hearing how good 𝗕𝗏's been. Like, 𝗕𝗏's going to get a ton of goal from Man United this year from set pieces. I actually, you know, put a quick bet on 𝗕𝗓𝙍 scoring the first goal. And boy, I was jumping up and down when I thought that ball went over the line, but, you know, Dean Henderson saved it with his feet. But that's another good point. Hearing that 𝗦𝗈 isn't like, oh, 𝗦𝗈. It's a great thing to hear from such a young player that is dropping back a little bit, kind of like a Paul Scholes. He doesn't want the limelight, but he is progressing and progressing. So I think that's a good thing. I just feel like Man United, watching them last year and how disorientated they were, passing wasn't very good. You know, the ball was being passed too hard, so then they couldn't control it. I just think this year is a lot better already. I agree with you. We need to start being clinical. We need to start dominating more games. But I think that's coming. Like, if you look at the game so far, like, you take away the Liverpool game, we just got outclassed. We just got outplayed in every aspect of the area. But if you look at every single game so far, you can. I'm me personally, I can see the progression. It's not to the point where we're dominating games like you said, but I can see the progression. I can see the ball being played out of the back. I can see the confidence in the back line growing and growing and growing. If we can get one of our strikers, if we can get Rashford back on, I'm not going to blame Rashford at any point for this week. He just wasn't given the ball. Like I said, the ball was just over the top. He just wasn't given the ball.
Yep.
But if he can go on fire and start scoring and scoring, if Zirkzee or 𝗦𝗏 can start banging him in, this team is really going to grow. And I think by Christmas, this team is really going to, you know, be up in that top 4. Like, if we look, we're only 4 points from the 4th place. We're not far behind it. So this time last year, we weren't even going to get top 4. With 4 points behind it, I know we got Tottenham next. I know we got Villa. But we beat Villa twice last year with a worse team. I'm not sure. Did we beat Tottenham last year?
I don't remember being.
I'm not sure if we did. If someone's in the audience, if you can let me know that one slipped my brain. But I think we can beat Tottenham. I think our defense is good enough to shut them out. I just want to see a goal. I want to see somebody up front. I don't care who it is. I just want to see someone up front other than Garnacho scoring.
Yeah, last year we lost and then we drew.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a winnable game. Both of these games are winnable games for Manchester United.
Yeah, Tottenham doesn't look great.
No.
So they don't look great. They were able to do something, but they don't look great. So I feel like as far as class goes, like pedigree, I feel like we're on the same as Tottenham now, right? Yeah. Like Tottenham, they're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. But it's just a matter of when, right? They got Dominic Solanke. They got that boy Brendan Johnson that's doing his thing. He scored on the weekend. Their defending is, they can't defend set pieces. Yeah. And that's what we need to exploit them, right? Because Vicario's not going to come out to get the ball. We know that. And that's what when Lenny Yoro would be great right now, because we'd have the height, right? Mm-hmm. We'd have the height to put, but, you know, Martinez is going to do what he does.
That's another player I want to talk about in a second.
Yeah,
You know,
De Ligt
Martinez.
could score with his height. He always looks dangerous to get it in. And then Eriksen has been passing so well. He's
Hmm.
been passing so well. His corners have been so crisp. It's just a shame. It's criminal almost that we didn't score off one of those corners. But
It was close
he's
twice.
putting them in, and I was like, man, you know what? He needs to stay in just for the sake of his distribution, how he's able to put
Yeah.
the corners in. So
Unfortunately, you just can't play
that'll
those
come.
at
I just
90.
feel I just feel like we're that's gonna be a good game. That's gonna be a very good game to watch. I'm gonna enjoy that. I'm one of those guys. I'm kind of soft on Tottenham. I
Hmm.
have family that live in Tottenham. They're Tottenham supporters. I kind of like the area, so like I don't hate Tottenham as much as I probably should. Right, I'm a
Yeah.
little soft on them, but at the same time, I do want to win. I do think we could get them at least 2-1.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to go back and talk real quick on Martinez. Um, I feel like he's dropped off a bit. I'm not sure about you.
Yeah, he has.
He's dropped off. There's something wrong with Martinez right now. I know he just won the Copa America with. I'm wondering if it's too many games being played. Don't know what that tackle was. You were an inch away from being sent off. That was a horrendous tackle. Even if it missed the player, it was just horrendous. I don't know
Well,
why you're doing that.
I think real quick. I think I'm gonna try to put myself in his shoes. Like I didn't play at a top level. I played in high school, a little bit in college,
Yeah.
but I now I wouldn't do that.
No.
But I think what was going through his mind at the time is that he wanted to stop the ball
Yeah.
from going anywhere because he was beat to it. And the first thing in his head was like to plant his feet down to let the ball lick off his shins or his
I get
knees.
it.
I just think that's just so dangerous to do,
Yeah.
especially around the box area
Yeah.
against a guy that's like rearing up his legs to touch the ball.
Yeah.
That's just the wrong. Just lose the ball.
Yeah, like at that pay, like if you want to stop the ball, throw your body on it. Like throw your body on the grenade, but don't do that. Like you were, if you had touched that player in any way, shape, or form, you were off, no question, and we lose the game. Like so, I don't understand that tackle. But again, I do think he's dropped off a little bit. I think this will be helped when Lenny Euro comes back because I think Lenny Euro and De Ligt is going to be a great partnership. I think De Ligt and Martinez is going to be a great partnership. I think it's just going to be a great partnership all over. But I feel like he's dropped off just a little bit. We're still not conceding, which is a great thing. But again, we'll find out this weekend when we play a better opponent. I'm not saying they're great, but they are better than what we've played in the last 3 games.
Yep.
So we're also going to see what Man United progression's like when we play a better team this weekend. So I'm excited for it. You think it's a 2-1 win? I'm going to give mine at the end of the show. But that's kind of where I'm at. I just feel like a couple of players, Bruno. I'm excited to see Luke Shaw come back.
And we're at home.
Sorry?
And we're at home.
Yeah, we're at home too. That's another thing, So we look better at home this year than we did last year. We were better away last year than we were at home. So I really like kind of where for me, like I wasn't too mad about the game at the weekend because I can see progression, even though it's slower than I would like. I can still see progression in this team, and I honestly believe by middle of October, November, this team's going to start cooking. And I honestly do believe still we're going to finish in the top 4 this year.
Yeah, I'm still holding on to top 4 hopes, but I want to just see where we are in December before I.
Well, we're going to see after the next 2 games where we're going to be at.
Yeah, I'm really holding out hope in December that we're challenging for top 4.
Yeah, and especially with what happened to City today.
Yeah, and I hate to sound like challenging for top 4. That's an Arsenal position, but things have changed. Things have changed. I hate to say it, but it is what it is. Rodri getting hurt and him being one of the main players that makes them tick, but
he is the main player that makes them tick. He's the main player.
They're gonna figure it out. They're gonna figure it out. They're gonna play a certain way that's gonna strengthen whoever they decide to put on the pit. They're gonna figure it out. I don't think that I think it doesn't help but
Yeah.
I don't think it like stifles their title hopes.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, they figured it out. Real quick, for everybody that, and I know you're not one of them, but for everybody that wanted City out and want them not to be in and whatever the case would be, did you see that game? Did you see how good that game was? I think we're seeing this is the start of like a rivalry now between them and Arsenal.
Yeah.
Because now it's heating up. Look at Haaland was behaving badly, telling guys, "Who the hell are you? Shut up, you loser, you clown," hitting people with the ball. Like, I like this. This is the chippy kind of stuff that I like. I think we're watching. Those are the two teams for the last 3 years that's been challenging for number one. Now, Arsenal haven't got it. They bottled it once, and then they went down to the end of the season for the last year.
Yeah.
But like, so City should be gone. We don't get to see this kind of stuff again. Like, I'm sorry. I just can't. That we don't get this game if this is what happens. We don't get these types of, and they still got to play at the Etihad. It's gonna be that was must-see TV box office for me. I had a good time watching that game as a neutral, and I'm very happy that they both walked away with a point. That was the best thing that can happen for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I kind of want to touch on real quick, and I know my group has been talking, had a quick conversation about it. It's not Man United related per se, but it is football related. It's these yellow cards and sending offs for kicking the ball away. Is, I understand it's the letter of the law. Bruno's did not hear that whistle go. And then this week, Trossard getting sent off in an important game for kicking the ball.
Referee.
And it clearly didn't hit. Like, you could watch it. He clearly didn't hear it. Like, they've had 2 players sent off in the last 3 weeks for kicking the ball away.
It's not that serious.
It's not. It kind of reminds me back in the day when, I know, like the NFL, you'd get a 15-yard penalty for, celebrating. It's, I get it if you walk up to the ball as a player is about to take a free kick, or the whistle's clearly gone and you're just stopping them from taking a quick free kick. I get that. But to yellow card and send a player off after a quick reaction, I think is idiotic, and it's downplaying the game. Like, to have Rice and Trossard being sent off, like, that's going to hurt Arsenal. It is going to hurt Arsenal because Odegaard is out injured for quite some time, and Trossard is his main replacement. So now they don't have him for the next game. Now, like, and then I think it took away from Arsenal. I think it took away from the game. Arsenal just capitulated in that second half. They just, like, I watched the highlights. I don't watch the game. I watched the highlights, but there was not one highlight of Arsenal shooting on target in that second half.
No, they set up shop.
Yeah, because they were down to 10 men. Yeah, absolutely. They're playing
defended
City.
well too. They defended very well.
Yeah,
people were mad, like, "Oh, you guys are setting up shop." It's like they're down a man on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just don't understand what they're doing, or what they're gaining from this by kicking the ball away. Like, what happens if Bruno was on a yellow and Bruno got sent off for that one? Like, and he would have got sent off, and then it cost us the game. So I know it's not affecting us per se right now, but it seems like it's going to. And I feel like more and more people are going to get sent off this season for these kicking the ball away. Declan Rice, I don't want to hear it from Arsenal fans. You kicked the ball away. You knew what you were doing to stop a free kick. That one I can understand a little more. He clearly looks at the ball. He clearly knows the player's trying to take a quick free kick and you kick the ball away. That one I can understand a little bit more. But the Trossard one was just an atrocious decision. Like, I understand you know it. And I'm one of those people like, hey, if you're going to commit, if you know the rules, if you're going to break the rules, you're going to be punished. That's just so silly.
There's always gray area, man. There's always, when you set a rule, when you set a law, there's always going to be like things within the law that's like, oh, well, I didn't hear a whistle. Or, oh, well, I was already in the midst of kicking it. Like, it's always going to be something. Now, real quick, Michael Oliver, you scumbag. Let me tell you something. I'm not an Arsenal fan nor a City fan. I hate both of them. But
he's horrendous.
You have managed to make those games about you. You have managed to make those games about you once again. I said it last year. I will find you, Michael Oliver. I'm telling you, and I will make you pay the highest price because you need to be in the championship, brother. You need to be in League One with the stuff that you're doing. I don't understand why this guy feels that he needs to insert himself in the game. Like Robbie said on AFTV, bro, you're wearing black, okay? Because you're not on either team.
Yeah.
You're not. It's not about you. You're not supposed to be there.
No.
And he's making these big decisions. What if Arsenal need a point in the last week of the game? In the last week of the season, they needed that point. They needed that 3 points to win. That would have won it for them.
Yeah.
They were up 2-1.
And they weren't up 2-1. They were dominating City at that point.
You decided to make it about yourself every time. I understand you got to keep it consistent too, because I forgot what other game I was watching where a guy kicked the ball afterwards and it was a nothing burger. The magnitude of the game has to be accounted for when we're talking about these cards. Every game is different. Ipswich versus Barnsley, let's say Ipswich versus Southampton. Guy kicks the ball, whatever, do what you will. But the magnitude of this game, with everything that's going on around it, in the heat of the game, the passion of the game, guys are pushing each other, all that, something like that happens, you have to give them a talking to.
Yeah.
Okay. Or, another thing I don't like about the ref is like, don't come and talk to me unless you're the captain. Fool, I'm going to come and talk to you. My blood is rushing. What do you mean don't come and talk to you? I just got kicked. I just got hit. I'm on the ground. I'm going to come and talk to you. A handball just occurred.
Yeah.
You're going to have words. So this idea that they could just be above reproach is mad to me. But Michael Oliver, you, sir, you will.
Yeah, I've noticed this for the last couple of years about Michael Oliver. He and some of his decision making is horrendous. Every time I see him, that he's
refereeing him bastard too.
Yeah, every time I see him like on the Man United, list of, and I'm just like, oh boy, someone's getting sent off. You know he's going to send off Ugarte this year. He's going to send off Ugarte. I can see it happening. Or Bruno, I can just see it happening. And the thing is with Michael Oliver, and this has been wide known for a long time, this guy is on the City paybook. I'm sorry, but you're on the City paybook. Like, some of your decisions to help City out is horrendous. And the fact that you've been seen abroad with people with City is even worse that the Premier League is letting this happen.
Sanjeev said, I think I'll survive without that rivalry. Sanjeev, Anthony's your favorite player.
Do you know what? As a Man United fan, I can survive without that. But as a football
game was electric.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. As a Man United fan, I can do without that rivalry. But as a football fan, there is nothing like watching a game like that. Like, I love watching. I will sit down and watch Leeds United play, even though one of their arch rivals. I love watching football. I don't care who it is. I have my team. I will support them. I'll never wear another jersey for somebody who Manchester United can play. I'll wear a jersey from a South American team or an American team because we're never playing them. But I ain't never wearing a jersey from another European team. It just ain't happening.
I have a
but I will watch them. I will cheer them on, like, especially when it's a game like Arsenal versus City, because we were that rivalry once. Yep. We were that team to watch once, and it gives you to watch a game like that. It shows you why us as fans fall in love with football, because we ain't doing it right now. So I'm glad someone else is doing it. And it's a great game to watch. Like, just imagine how, Sanjeev, we felt last year, and you, Mikey, too. When Man United played Liverpool in that FA Cup, or any game last year, that electricity of how we felt, that's what the Arsenal fans, that's what some City fans, and that's another point. I've got to show you. I can't show you because I'm using my phone. Did anyone see how empty the Ehat was this year against?
That's to be expected.
Dude, that was empty. There were so many empty seats versus Arsenal, and I was shocked at that. Back to the point, as a United fan, I could do without the rivalry. But as a football fan, there's no way I could do without that rivalry. It was an electric game, and I just wish, and I hope, there's a part of me that knows that Man United are going to be that team again.
There's days I wake up, like on derby days. So when it's like Liverpool, for a long time now, I think I could first remember it. I probably was like 17, but just waking up knowing week's end, Man United versus City, Man United versus Liverpool. Man United, well, recently it was Leeds, right? Because
Yeah.
I think the last time Leeds were in the league before last time, that was what, 13 years? So I had to be what, like 23 or something like that? It was something like that. But anyway, waking up on, so for example, the day we had to play them in the FA Cup to stop them from winning the treble. Well, stop the first leg of the treble because they had already won the league. So the second leg of the treble. I remember waking up that day, I had a dream that they beat us 3-0, and it woke me up out of my sleep. That's how annoyed I was with that. I'm like, it looks insurmountable. What are we gonna do to beat them? Like, and it bothered me the entire week. I would be having a good day, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, we gotta play City on the weekend. You know, that feeling, that buildup, that same with Liverpool. Oh, we got to play Liverpool. We need this FA Cup. I don't think we're going to make top 4. We need an FA Cup to keep Ten Hag's job. All that drama, all that was in me for the entire week. We end up losing the FA Cup, of course, that year and winning it the next year. That same one, I'm like, I was a bit more confident for whatever reason. But just the buildup of those games in my gut, the entire week is so much drama. It's stressful. And to score a goal after waiting the entire week with all this stress is like, it's a release. It's a release. It's something like a different kind of release. It's close to that kind of release. But, you know, I just want our rivals in it. I know they did wrong. I think there's different ways to punish them. But I think when you don't punish the brass, I see it in law all the time. I see guys, prosecutors, police chiefs, mayors, dead to rights. And then they go after an alderman. They go after one cop. They go after a low judge. And it's like, yo, he wasn't the one that did that. It was this guy facilitating the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you have elites going after elites, I ain't gonna get too deep. I don't want to be on FBI watch list. But when you have elites going after elites, they're gonna find a way to mitigate punishment. And nobody wins when people don't get punished. But punishing me from seeing a game like that yesterday, nah.
That is something that, you know, if they did go down, I would miss, you know, that waking up and, you know, going to the Bulldog and watching Man United play Man City. It's not so much with us because we have like a couple of Man City fans that come in. Then
we have so many too.
Yeah.
We have so many, and they're all young. They're all like 22, 23. And my favorite question to them is, I'm like, are you post or pre-Mancini?
Yeah.
And all of them are.
That's always it's always mine. Yeah.
All of them are post. They're never pre. I only know a couple of them that are pre, and their whole family are.
One of my favorite things is though when they're like, "Oh yeah, we're pre-Mancini," and I was like, "Can you name me a player of that team?" And they can't name a player.
I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, did you like Sean Wright Phillips? Did you like him? I thought he was a good. I thought he was a good right back, and they'd be like, yeah, he was a great right back.
Exactly.
Fucking fool, I got you.
One of the things, Sanjeev, I hate to admit it, I did enjoy Haaland's antics. I did too.
Funny.
Like, I watched, like I said, I didn't watch the whole game, but I watched the extended highlights on Match of the Day in England, and we all know Match of the Day. They don't play a 5-minute, you know, clip. They play a lot of the game.
I love it. I love Match of the Day.
Match of the Day is my favorite.
Not as much now. Not as much as before. Back in the day, it was great.
Yeah.
Now
like,
it's
when
okay
I
now.
was a kid, like you get on a Saturday after Saturday, you get your Chinese. I get my chicken curry, and I sit down and I watch my Match of the Day. That was my Saturday when I was younger.
It gets you caught up so good.
Yeah, and I still watch it. You know, YouTube, don't come after me for that, but I still watch it. But let's moving on a little bit. Let's look at look ahead. I know we said last week that our Thursday show was going to be a few hours after the game. Unfortunately, it's not, because I forgot that they changed the rules this year. So the game is on Wednesday this year.
Oh yeah, okay,
they changed the rules, so we are playing on Wednesday this year. So
why the rule change? Explain it for the people.
It's the same as the Champions League. You know, some games are being played on Thursdays now, so I guess they're playing, you know, kind of 1 week they're playing the Champions League, the next week they're going to play the Europa League.
That's so weird.
It is.
Europa games are played on Thursday.
I do like it though, because we're not playing on Thursday and then playing again Sunday. We're playing midweek. Like, as a fan who's, you know, with these injuries, I do like it. We're not playing, you know, we're splitting the week up pretty well. So I know we will be playing on Thursdays, but this week we're just going to do the day after. Do look out. I'm starting to do a lot more shorts, especially straight after the games. Trying to get your guys' reactions on that. But let's look at FC Twente. What do you want to see from the lineup? Do you want to see anybody come in? Do you want to see anybody dropped? How were you feeling with the team? You are breaking up pretty bad there. Turn off your PlayStation. I'll go ahead with mine while Mikey's reconnecting. For me, I want to see the same back lineup. This is a competition where I don't necessarily want to see him keep rotating. I want to see that back four stay the same. Ugarte for me has to start this game. And then I would probably bring it on Rashford for Garnacho, and then I would start Højlund in this game. Jeeves, what do you think? I think I would keep it pretty much the same other than Ugarte and the Rashford one. I just feel like Garnacho is a little bit better off the left. As I said earlier, I think he deserved to start at the weekend. There's definitely something, we should revert back to, and putting Rashford on the left. But that's kind of where I'm at with that one. We need to take this competition seriously. For me, if we want to keep progressing like we have, this is a competition that we should be winning this year. To win the Carabao Cup, then win the FA Cup, and then to say if we can win the Europa League, then we can't hear anybody saying that Ten Hag isn't the right man, because he's showing progression. So that for me is kind of this competition. I'm not sure whether I feel like this is a more important competition than the Premier League, because unfortunately we know we can't win the Premier League this year. So do we make it our goal to win the Europa League instead of winning the Premier League, or finishing top 4 in the Premier League? I believe a top 4, top 5 finish in the Europa League win is good enough. But that's where it is with me. Let me just reply to Mikey. Mikey, say something. Yeah, Mikey seems to have gone. Unfortunately, so we may have to end it without Mikey this week. But that's where I'm at with that. I think United really need to get off on a strong foot with this one. I think they need to get a comfortable win here. So that's where I feel like they have to win. Man United can't go into this one and get another draw, because we're going to start then see the players then digress again. They're going to start coming back and saying, we need to continue this trend of playing better, but we need to start scoring. We need to start winning. So that for me is kind of where I'm at with that. I would just make those, 2 changes. 1878 Casual says Champions League anyway, and get it, and FA Cup would be ideal. Yes. The FA Cup, for me, is the oldest competition in the world. So, always winning that is a great thing. And then to, chop away at Arsenal's dominance in the FA Cup would be a great thing. But I just feel like for Man United to show progression, we need to win a European like the Europa League. There's no reason we shouldn't win the Europa League this year, especially with the people that we've signed. Some of these players have won major championships. Casemiro has the Champions League. De Ligt, has he has the Italian league title. He has the German league title. So there's no reason why he shouldn't be doing. Mazzari has the same. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be at least getting to the semifinals, minimum semifinals of the Europa League this year. So that's where I'm at. Outage in the area with Mikey. So unfortunately, Mikey's not going to be back on for the end of the show. But 1878 casuals, Sanjeev, what's your kind of take on this week? Who do you want to see change? Do you agree with me? I kind of get some feedback with that. And then talking about the Tottenham, again, playing on the Wednesday and then able to kind of move over to a Sunday game. I like that Wednesday. It gives us the opportunity to kind of have a day's rest more than, playing on the Thursday. So Tottenham is a difficult one. I would like to, if Luke Shaw comes back, I'd like to see him having some game time this weekend. I don't think he should start, but I definitely think he should have some game time this weekend. Sanjeev saying we should dominate Twente while rotating Big H, 𝗕 and 𝗕𝙁 in. What's your reasoning for Big H coming in? 𝗕 I'm worried about. I would probably start 𝗕 on the bench for this one. Bring him in late, build that fitness up. I think putting him in right after coming back from an injury may be a little bit too soon for him, because the last thing we want to see is him go back out. But again, he started the season in such confident form, and then to get the injury again. I did read that message 1878, so stop retracting things. Get the likes up. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'd like to hear from Sanjeev why Big H and 𝗕. 𝗕𝙁 I can see. I would probably put Garnacho on the right for this one. An Ahmed off the bench. Ahmed is a great player. But recently he hasn't really been scoring. Hasn't really set up too many recently. Just arrest Martinez. That's fine. Yeah. Again, like we were saying earlier, Martinez has clearly dropped off some, so a rest might be a good thing for him. And then especially we have bigger games coming up this weekend, so that's definitely something I agree with. Martinez, taking Martinez out and put Big H in. So at least until Lenny Euro comes back. I love what Big H has done in the last couple of years. The way he's going. Manchester Mikey, tomorrow is my birthday. Happy birthday, Mikey. I wish you all the best on your birthday. I hope you're doing something fun for your birthday. And it's my birthday in a couple of weeks, so I hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow. Yes, but yeah, other than that, there's a lot of things we could do. Garnacho, Rasmus, and Anthony. You want Anthony to play tomorrow? After that debacle that he played against Barnsley? Again, it's a strange one. I don't know what to think about Anthony. Like, that game was right for him to kick on, and really show everybody what he could be made of. The Barnsley game was like him playing in the Dutch league again. So there was no reason why he shouldn't have kicked on. But he ended up having an atrocious game again. And I'm not sure why that is. But it is what it is. Yeah, he scored a penalty. Yeah, he got the penalty. But a broken clock is right twice a day. Am I not wrong? So Anthony, let's give him one more. You know what? Throw him in. Let's give him another opportunity. And he has till Christmas to turn it around. And there's no reason why he shouldn't be. Again, we touched on last year. Yeah, he had a lot of things going on in his personal life. He dealt with them the correct way. He stepped away from Man United. But he's been at Man United. This is his third year, and he scored 8 goals for Manchester United, and it's just not good enough. Like, it's not good enough for him. For someone to play with Man United and for us to get into the top 4. Again, like I was pointing out, a bunch of people I know, like, against Barnsley, he just refused to go down the right wing. He refused to go down that right wing when he was way faster than the player that he was taking on. And he just wouldn't do it. And I've seen him do it in the Dutch league, Eredivisie. I've seen him do it. I've seen the highlights. I've seen some of the games. He can do it. Just don't know why he's not doing it. Sanjeev says, Anthony for me needs to beat his fullback once. That's progress. You're not wrong, Sanjeev. You are not wrong. He did, but I don't know with him again. It's a confidence thing, or if he's just. Let me figure. For me, Anthony is an okay player. He's just not suited for the Premier League. I think maybe in the Dutch, like you see him at the Dutch league, or you maybe see him at Barcelona, or maybe in Paris, or in France anywhere, maybe for Monaco. I think he would be a fantastic player. He reminds me of Depay. Depay is a good player. He was a good player. He went over in France and had a great career in France. But for Man United, he just wasn't a good player. Now, like, just because a player at Man United isn't working, it doesn't mean that these players are terrible players. It's just not. Sometimes the wrong setting, the wrong location is just not a great fit. Now, we all look at it in life. We all have had a job where we're like, okay, this is what I want to do for a living, but it's just the wrong company that we're working for. We don't like how the rules, like some of the rules or how things are run. It's kind of that with Anthony. And not necessarily the rules or how things are run. I think it's just the Premier League is just too much for him. It's too fast paced for him. I can, his desire to stay and want to fight is commendable, but when you are getting beat by a fullback in the second division and not showing that you're he didn't even show he was a $40 million player, let alone an $80 million player. Now, I know that price tag's not his fault, but he didn't show that. And for me, that was kind of my turning point on Anthony. I wanted to give him another chance. I wanted to give him till Christmas, but I just feel like when you can't beat a fullback for playing for Barnsley, then there's something seriously wrong with that. 1878 says, Casual says, it's got to be a confidence thing. I think it might be a mixture of the two. I think it's a confidence thing and him just not being up to standard for the Premier League. I think a great thing for Anthony, because I really feel like we're going to struggle to sell Anthony. I think a loan deal is a great, going out on loan in probably January at the end of the season is going to be great for him. I just don't see him at Man United long term if he continues to play the way he's doing, especially against teams like Barnsley. So maybe playing against a European team is better. They do play a completely different style, so maybe he will shine at the weekend. On Wednesday, should I say. So in that instance, let's give him a chance. He is great at going back. He is great at defending, which will allow Dalot to go forward a little bit more. It will allow 𝗕𝗓𝙍 to go a little bit forward more. And we all know that Anthony played with 𝗕𝗓𝙍 at Ajax, and they had a great partnership. So maybe in Europe, give him a chance. That's all I can really say about that one. I want to hear from you guys real quick. What do you think the score is on Wednesday against FC Twente? We're at 9:04 right now. So for me, I'm going to go with a 3-1 win for Manchester United. I'm going to go with Rashford in a brace, and then I'm going to see Højlund. I think Højlund will get a goal, and then Rashford brace. 1878 saying Wednesday is his level. It is. It's a perfect level for him. Now, if he starts and he doesn't shine in this game, I think it's over for him. You're going to go with 3-1-2 also. Who do you think scores? But again, if he doesn't shine this week or he doesn't show progression this week, I think it's over for him. I think his United career is done. Sanjeev saying 4-0 Manchester United. Who are you going with, Sanjeev? Like I said, I'm going to go with Rashford brace and then Højlund to get a goal. Højlund did really well in Europe last year, especially in the Champions League. Did really, really well. Without him, we would have got embarrassed even more than we did by finishing bottom. But I think he'll do well this year in Europe also. But other than that, Manchester Mikey 2-0 to United. 1878 saying 𝗕 Rasmus and Garnacho. And Sanji saying I'll play Champions League music before the game. Close enough. Yeah, that's fine. That music still gives me goosebumps every time I hear it. It's just a shame that we haven't heard it as fans in a long time of Manchester United. Hearing before the start of the game. And then Manchester Mikey's going with Rashford and Bruno, the 2-0. So nice. Everyone else, I'm thinking we may have Q on Thursday. I've got to make sure that that's still a thing with Q, so if he's still able to come on. Sanjeev saying, I would like to see Zirkzee bag a couple with Højlund. That would be fantastic. I think Zirkzee getting a goal would be a huge confidence booster. But yeah, those definitely two that I would like to see getting. But I would also like to see Rashford, score again. I think he's going to get a brace in this game. Might even have a little flirt on that one like I did last game. But everyone, thanks for tuning in as again. Thursday, I believe, like I was saying, Q might be on. I'll keep you guys updated in that. And then keep an eye out for our shorts also. Thank you for everyone for tuning in today, and we will see you on Thursday. Peace.
Yes, people, what's happening with the main man here? Make sure you're subscribing to the UnitedFanZone for your Man United content. Big stuff.